Back again with a new video. It's been almost 2 months, maybe a little over 2 months since my last video. I can't really remember. But yeah, so I took a small break. Picked up a few items during the break, and then I made a move. Sold one item. Have picked up a ton since I sold that item, and I'm out of my break. And yeah, it's been really good. It's been my probably my most productive 2 weeks collecting since probably the start. And it's yeah, so I'm going to show you everything that's come in over these past 2 months. I have much more coming in, but it'll be after the video after the national, because I will be leaving for Chicago for 2 weeks. Gonna go watch the World Cup final with some buddies. Of course, not in person, but hang out with friends, and then go to the national, go to the soccer card convention, SoCo, and it's gonna be a good time. I'll finally be able to meet a bunch of the collectors I've been talking to the past 2 years, and yeah, should be a fun video after the national for sure. Because this is my first national. The biggest card show I've been to is what, the Nashville show. Yeah, the biggest card show I've ever been to was the national show, so the national will definitely blow that out of the water. I've heard a lot of great things. I've heard some not so great things about the national, so we'll see how it is. But I'm sure I'll have a blast, and I know I'll enjoy the soccer convention, because some of the collectors and I are going to go out to dinner. I was lucky enough to be invited to another event, so that'll be fun. Yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into what I have gotten in. The majority of this I have shown off in the Discord. I'm sure sometimes people get tired of seeing me post, and it's not me bragging. It's a lot of this stuff I found out that it exists due to the Discord. So I post in the Discord group and Facebook sometimes, because I want people to know that these items are out there. You can go out and, potentially find them. It takes a lot of work, but it is doable 100%. You don't have to wait for an auction in here in America to end. For that item to come up to go for ridiculous prices, you can go out yourselves, go out, find these items, and it's a whole lot more enjoyable. You meet a lot of great people. I've met some just fantastic collectors in and out of the Discord. One of my favorite collectors who's not in the Discord, he's actually in Egypt. There's one from the Netherlands. There's one from Belgium. All great guys. All guys I hope to meet in person someday. So, yeah. All right. So, starting out, I have this photograph that I picked up off eBay from 1940. It shows the Dynamo Moscow team, and it has at least 3 players from my list that I didn't have anything of. So that's great. But yeah, you have the goalkeeper, whose name I think is the only one I remember, Alexei Khomich, Khomich, maybe. I honestly should make notes on this, but these are all items that I've posted in the Discord. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so I was happy to see that show up on eBay. That was a very unlikely find. I didn't think something like that would show up. I think it came from a collector or a dealer in Canada. One of the few non-soccer items I have to show off is this baseball photograph from 1934. It's torn to pieces. Honestly, wouldn't have it any other way. It's just so cool. It shows the American All-Star team from 1934 when they toured Japan. And so you have the American All-Star team and you have the Japanese team. And the American team won every game they played. And you have players like Babe Ruth, which with their facsimile autograph above and below for the Japanese and the Americans. You have Lou Gehrig right there. You have, I think that's the coach of the team, whose name I posted in the Discord. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. And then I think he might be the pitcher. The main reason I bought the photograph. He's a Japanese Hall of Fame pitcher. First player to throw a no-hitter. He threw 3 no-hitters, at least 3 no-hitters in his lifetime. One of the first Hall of Famers inducted for the Japanese Hall of Fame. Great man. It's Eli. His last name starts with an S. Anyways, I posted in the Discord, so if you have any questions, I can probably type it out in the comments. I wish I was better at remembering people's names. I could make notes, but there's just so many things to show off today. And I mixed in a lot of the other items with cards that I already had, because I was like sorting. You'll see what I've been doing here in a little bit. But I bought a new protective case to put slabs in, and I bought 2 top loader binders that look really nice. And I'm debating on whether or not I should bring one to the National. I just don't want to lose anything, because if I lost one of the binders, it would be horrible. Oh my goodness, it would be horrible. Each album is worth so much money. But yeah, so that's a cool photograph. I don't know what I'll do with it. I mean, it's staying in the collection. I don't know if I'll frame it, keep it in its case, because it has a protective case outside of what I just showed you. And then the other bigger item I got in is this commemorative item for the 1923 Far Eastern Tournament that was hosted in Japan. So you have 3 teams during this tournament. You have Japan, you have China, and you have the Philippines. And I couldn't see any photograph. I couldn't see anything for this like book, because I'm not going to call it, it's an album, it's a photo album, but it's all printed pages. And it's really nice. It's thick, it's informative, everything's in Japanese. But it's just really cool. And I was hoping there was going to be something showing the football teams, because 1923 Far Eastern Tournament is the debut of a super famous Chinese player named Li Wei-tong, and which we'll talk more about him in a little bit. We'll reference him because there is a photograph of the China national team, the football team, and I believe it shows a very young Li Wei-tong in the center of the photograph. So I will go ahead and open this up and flip to the page. There's track, swimming, volleyball, baseball, basketball, and soccer, tennis. So here's the soccer page. So I've already translated this via Google Translate, and it says the China team are national champions from the last Far Eastern tournament. It talks about Japan losing to China like 9-1, which is crazy. And it also talks about the Philippines players getting injured, and the Philippines playing Japan in the top left photo and the bottom right photo. And so the bottom left photo is the Japanese team, and the bottom right photo is the Chinese team. And I believe the man sitting down with the ball in front of him is Li Wei-tong, because that is his hairline to a T. And he also has a protruding like eyebrow situation, very, very prominent, which is exactly Li Wei-tong. And it does sort of look like him. Usually the photographs have him smiling, and he's not smiling in this photo. But I do believe that's him. Even if it's not, I still have an item featuring Li Wei-tong later in his career, and that is one of the items that I'm excited to show you later in the video. But yeah, so that'll be definitely cased up, protective. I doubt I will open that many more times in the future. I have it on video. I have photos of the pages. I just want to keep it safe because it is one. If I didn't have a museum quality piece of my collection, I do now. That is museum quality, as good as it gets. And I got it for like $60. I've been finding some crazy stuff out of Japan, and one of my favorite items that I've dug up is coming in the mail, and it is the first issue of Football Players featured on cards for Japan. It's from 1968. It's a set that's been showed off in the Discord, and I finally found a complete set because it features 2 football players, a bunch of wrestlers, a bunch of baseball players, and then celebrities in Japan, including the man who is credited as the father of manga in Japan. So bunches of names crossed off the list across many sports for that country, and I'm super excited. Just super excited to show that to you when it comes in. Got a bunch of top loaders, magnetic holders, in the mail from Amazon, including the cases and other stuff. So I have all that stuff in a pile. I don't know what I haven't shown you, what I have showed you. I know I've showed these off, so we'll just breeze past each item until I can recognize. So this is a postcard featuring cyclists from France, I believe. I haven't shown that off. I've showed that off. That's Nurmi, one of his earliest issues. Gene Vincent, 1913 postcard featuring Eugene Moss. I've talked about that before. Let's try to keep these in order. Another one featuring another player from that 1913 team. I've talked about that before. Paul von Hemst, his postcard or a photo advertisement. The team from Vietnam or the Philippines, I can't remember. I liked it. It was a couple bucks. So that's in the collection now. I like picking up. Let me just go through. There's a bunch of these I know I've shown off. But showed all these off. It's funny how I haven't had any of these protected in a long time. Now they're all in top loaders. (1928) postcard, 1930s France, 1930s Yugoslavia. It's a postcard of Copa. 1912 Belgian postcard featuring Swartenbrox. Yeah. Sweden, France, and Austria. A bunch of good stuff. That's a new one. So this is 1956. Russia versus what? Germany? Yeah. So it features Streslov, Yashin, Neto. Yeah, a bunch of great players. Mainly picked it up because, of course, it's another early showing of Yashin before the 1958 World Cup. Alberto Spencer from 1966. I picked up his rookie. That's one of the cards that will be showed off here pretty soon. Otto Nertz, his earliest issue with the tab. It's kind of, it's beat up, but that's probably as good as you're going to find. Plus, he was probably not the greatest of men. 1905 postal from Czechia, but it's featuring a Denmark team who toured. That's a Ukraine team it's a Ukrainian team. I think it's a makeshift national team for Ukraine at the time, because this is from 1935 when they were touring France. Another Yugoslavian 1930s team postals. Another one. This is a good one. 1912 postal of the Austrian national team featuring Jan Stednicka from 1912 during the Olympics. So I've probably showed that off, honestly. I can't remember. But he's one of the 20 names I wanted to cross off this year. There's the hockey team for Russia, Soviet Union. I think this is 1962. Martial art. His only card I've ever seen. He was a judo master, just a ridiculous man. I don't know who that is, but this is a set from, what, 1969? 1968, 1969, I think. Out of Japan, from magazine. Showed that off before. Here are a couple pieces that I got from a great guy from the Discord. Long-standing deal we've had. Finally, that's done. Got everything shipped to me. Everything turned out great. Fantastic. So this is an 1899 postcard of Slavia Prague. And it seems to be autographed by every member of the team. And I know there's like 3 men on the postcard from my list. So that's fantastic. I love these types of things. Out of all of Giuseppe Meazza's issues, because there's tons in the 30s, this is the one I wanted the most. His earliest issues from 27. The other issues, there might be 1 or 2 more that could have originated in the 20s. But his earliest issue is 27. According to my research, his next earliest issue is from 1929, and is this postcard because it's from the 1929-30 season. And we know that because all the players were issued and the team postcard was issued. Of course, I'm not an expert on Italian issues. I credit that to Seb in the Discord. So I'm sure there's other issues that predate in between this one and the 1927 Lorati rookie. But I like this a whole lot more than I do the Lorati. And it's leagues cheaper. So this was the item I wanted for this player. Fantastic player. Super happy to have him in the collection now. So now I need the Sindelar postcard to match with him. So I can pair him up. But yeah, fantastic. Happy to have that. A couple postcards of a Russian player whose name escapes me. Cannot remember. This was one of the first. If I hadn't shown this off already, this was one of the first pieces I picked up right before my break. 1899 postcard featuring Charles Wedford Brown. He is credited with coining the term soccer. I have seen 2 of these postcards. Super happy to own one. Never thought I'd have something with him on it. I've seen 2 of these postcards, and he has 2 Bane cards. One for the England team and one for his club team. And I've seen, in total, 3 Bane cards of his. 2 people own them in the Discord, and then one of them is being sold by a guy on the Discord, but he's asking, I think, $6K for it. So I am happy to get this. (1901-1903), pretty sure it's 03, wrench postcard featuring R.S. McColl, famous Scottish player. His earliest is probably his earliest is a super 1899 card where I think only one exists, or one is known. So if it went for auction today, it would go for tens of thousands of dollars. Because it's one of the most sought after English cards in existence. So I'm not getting that card. So his next earliest obtainable card is from 1900 Ogden General Interest Set. So I want that card to pair up with the postcard, but I fell in love with this postcard when I saw it. So it's mine. And here is probably my favorite photograph postal that has not come in, because I have a really, really nice one from 1946 featuring 2 players replacing the item that I sold from 1948. Hint, hint. You'll see that in a little bit. Which you should know what that is. Sold it. Which I will miss it, but at the end of the day, I am definitely happy to have replaced it with everything that I bought because of selling that. But yeah, so here's a 1936 photograph featuring Li Wei-tong on the left during the China national team tour after the 1936 Olympics when they got eliminated. They toured all throughout Europe. And during this is with, I think, what, Red Star Paris? Yeah, Red Star Paris, who I believe that's Edmond de la Fleur, the captain of Red Star Paris, I think. I honestly can't remember. It's been so long when I researched that because I bought this photograph a while back. But yeah, so I might have 2 items showing Li Wei-tong. I definitely have one. Super happy to have this. Super happy to have this. Super happy to have his name crossed off the list. So far, I have crossed off 6 of the 20 players. The most recent is Alejandro Morera from a super rare 1934 Spain set that's coming in. Big help from Seb. Great guy. Super happy to hear that's working out. So he's the 6th guy, and I actually have 2 I guess hints, 2 leads on 2 more names. So we'll see if those work out. I think they will. So we'll see. Great stuff. So that stops all of the photographs and postcards, oversized cards. What else? So I have this really cool Spanish player who played in Cuba, Vidal. He played for Barcelona. This says 1920 Aguilitas. It's from the 1924 set. But yeah, I might want to, I don't know, put the football set together in all 3 because there's 3 Aguilita sets, which I think at least 2 of the 3 features football players. If all 3 of them do, they're the only football sets that have been found in Cuba. When I say football, I mean soccer. But yeah, so this is 1924. This is his earliest. He has a 1926. No, he has a 1928 card. But it's the same portrait, but it is a different card. I have my Tom Finney rookie, 1948 Turf cigarettes. This is a gorgeous, I love it in the tux. But yeah. And then a bunch of other graded cards that came with the Finney. And I'm pretty sure I showed this off. It's the Robert Crompton, 1905 rookie card. I feel weird saying rookie card with a lot of this stuff. It's just their earliest issue on a card. Paola, 1931 uncatalogued Italian card. Super happy to mark him off the list. This is my favorite card of his. It's the most pronounced. It is also his most common 1931 card. But I love the white background on it. I love that card. Other people might not like it because it's his most common. It's still hard to come by. You know, you can't just go out and buy one immediately. Bremy. Just a bunch of players I didn't have. Pretty sure that most of these are rookies. I know one is not. a really important one. And I know this one is not. I know Schmeichel has what, an 88 issue from Denmark. Pretty difficult. Still obtainable. Just have to find it. So those are the graded cards. Shut these guys off. So got a bunch of cards from a Canadian collector. Cool guy. Really happy to have all of these. I have another package coming in from him. So a bunch of South American issues. I need to go through the 1931-32 Glorietta set to see which players I have. But he also had a bunch of Swedish, a few German cards, Uruguayan cards, 1932 Monopole, 24-25 Uruguayan cards. I'll show the better ones here in a little bit. 1931 Frosbergs. I want to put this set together, so I have 13 starting out. I like picking up photographs of different foreign teams that you don't normally see, like Vietnam, the one I showed earlier. I like picking up commons from sets I don't have. Occasionally trying to put together a set. There's only 3 or 4 sets that I'm working on, which I've talked about before. Something that you guys won't care about. I've been coin roll hunting a little bit, so I have a couple of coins that is starting out my PC. I have several other coins that I'll need to take a microscope to look at for quarters. For errors and varieties. So that'll be a fun thing doing on my own that costs no money. So that'll be rather enjoyable. So now I guess the thing we should get into is my favorite thing. My top loader binder that I've put together. So, I don't really have method to the madness. It's between countries. So the sets might be from the country, the players might be from the country, except for the first page. The first page is just a bunch of cool grails, which this one is leaving. The 1948 Puskas, I sold it for a solid chunk of change. It's going to a great collector, and I'm sad to see it go, but I'm keeping everything else from the album. I definitely, it was a win-win situation. I'm getting a bunch of cool stuff. I'm getting albums, like crazy. I'm getting a 1933 Libo album, Libo Littleville album. I'm getting a 1943 album from Denmark. Tons of guys scratched off the list from photographs, graded cards, whole collections, just tons of stuff. It's definitely worth it because I replaced it with a 1946 photograph featuring Puskas. So, yeah. You have the 1926 Greeling of Bakir. You have 1950 Ernst Wilimowski, 1908 Johnson Clare McCracken, the 1948 Sorosi in the top right corner. You have the 1939 Fritz Walter rookie. You have the 1958-60, sometime around there, featuring Tichy, his earliest issue. That's a Unella wrapper, so with bubblegum from Israel. 1938 of Abe Linstra, and the 1926 Greeling of Jimmy Hogan. But yeah. So just tons of cool sets. Tons of cool players. My 24-26 Mausoleum cards. I bought a whole collection of 300 of those. That's coming in. So that's fantastic. Just tons of players. If I see something new that I have not talked about in a past video, we'll talk about it. Here are all my 1919 Phillips cigarette cards. It's a set that I'm putting together. Still have tons more to find. It's a hard set to find. Belgian cards, Dutch cards, all throughout the 30s, 20s also. Ronnie Rook, or Rook Ronnie, his earliest card, 1947, from a really rare album from Belgium. So that's really cool. A bunch of the Hungarian players from that 48 Mexico album. 1931 caricature album out of Sweden on the bottom. Crowley's from Sweden, tons of others. One of my favorite sets of all time, it's the Unseer Zetung album from Austria. I have 5 cards from that set, 4 of which are in the album. Swedish cards, my uncatalogued 1940s hand-cut cards, whatever you want to call them, from Russia. Collection of cards from Norway that's somewhere between 1928 to 36. And some random modern cards that I picked up recently. So Spencer Alberto's early sticker from 1960 out of Uruguay. 1982 Enzo Francescoli, Variation 1, Variation 2 from 1982, his earliest issue. George Way, Josef Massapust, probably murdered his name. Shevchenko's earliest issue. Mark von Boston, Platini, and then a second year, Riva, Caesar Maldini, his earliest issue from 54. Larson's rookie, Jan Koller and Pavel Nedved in 1995, their rookies. Thomas Brolin rookie, Martin Dahlin rookie, and then a Pochettino. So that rounds out that one. If you've been watching the channel, you definitely saw a ton of old stuff that I've shown off. I probably have 5 or 6 more boxes of cards worth of... No, I'll probably have a lot more than that. I have plenty more cards that are not in these albums. A lot cooler things that are on display that are in magnetic holders and boxes and stuff. But I picked these out because I just thought that it would just make a nice, enjoyable thing to have to show off and maybe bring to the National, maybe bring to the soccer convention. So this is more towards South America, but it's still mixed in. So you have 2 1924, 1925 Uruguayan cards of Benincasa and Foglino, 2 captains of 2 club teams, and very important national teams. Very important players that are not talked about enough. You have Carlos Pucel. You have my 2 Kubalos rookies from 69. Yeah. You have 1942 Fabrica Glorieta of Domingo de Gea. My only card of his. I would like a 30s card of his too, but it'll be pricey. The earliest issues of Antonio Carvajal, a 1948 issue of Ademir. His earliest issue is a character out of 45. And then Luis Fuentes. His earliest issue is actually from Barcelona. When he played for Barcelona in 30... Oh, I know he's got 35 card. He doesn't have a 34 card, I don't believe. So a bunch more from the 48 albums. Some from the 43 albums on the bottom, on the top. More Uruguayan cards That's from a pretty tough set from 1928, I think, that were cut off in matchboxes. Another 1920 set on the bottom. My 26-28, sometime around there, set from El Salvador. More commons from the Uruguayan sets, from Cigarello's Crack. More early issues from the 1942 Fabrica Glorieta set. And then you have a Bebeto rookie on the bottom. Tons of Chilean cards I've shown off in the past. More random Uruguayan cards from the from the early 50s. Yeah. A bunch of commons from the Mexico national team from the 1978 Labradores y Owega set, I think. So those are pretty cool. Still need the Hugo Sanchez from that set, but I think I have all the other Mexican players, or the majority of them. Here are some more 1964 Eusebio, 1926 Greelings of Jan Vanek, and then Kuchin, something like that. 3 more from that 58-60 Unella set. That's the same Israeli player. Commons from that Aguilitas Cuban set from 24 to 28. I think it's a mixture of 2 sets. Bunch of cool Portuguese cards of rookies. Jose Aguillas. Uncatalogued card set from Egypt featuring key players. 1958 Cornflake set out of Sweden, pretty rare World Cup set. It was issued before the World Cup, so it doesn't have Pele. It is thought to be the earliest card featuring Yashin. I do not believe that. I believe he is something earlier. But there's a Stresslov from 58. I have this 56. Some French cards. 35 Lapaiku Chante. Probably murdering these pronunciations, but it's all tons of names that I've scratched off. A lot more French cards. The 1930 Beaux-Arts set on the bottom 2 rows. The 1935 Faberger set. 3 out of the 9 cards. I'm still missing 2 more to get the names that I want. Chewing Gum Olympiad, that's 51-54, probably somewhere around there. There's the Copa. 59 Fontaine and Copa on the sides. More French cards. Tons of cool Yugoslavian cards from the 50s and 60s of key players. That's the latest one, 1970. More random Yugoslavian cards, all key players from my list. And then non-soccer players of cards I've picked up along the way from buying football players. And yeah. So it's been almost 40 minutes. I think that's it. I'm sure I haven't shown off several items. But that's you have the gist. I'm still picking stuff up. I have tons of new stuff coming in. The video after the National will be really, really enjoyable. Because I'm expecting the majority of what I have coming in to be here, ready for me to open up when I come back from my trip to Chicago. And I will be going to Brazil for 2 weeks in September. So that'll be a really fun trip. So yeah. So I greatly appreciate everybody, all the help from Discord, all the help from collectors, all the comments I've gotten on my posts. And, you know, whenever I need information, a lot of people are just ready to help me out. And so I guess I'll go ahead and end it on just trying to name the collectors I can think of who've helped me a good bit. So I want to thank Seb. I want to thank Tom. Al, Scott, of course, Ed. You guys are just huge help all the time. Dave, of course, Graham, you guys are great. Always helping me out with questions with South America. What else? What else? What else? The videos Al has been making have been awesome. I know he has a few things in the works that you guys will like to see on YouTube. So that's gonna be good. I think the market's moving in a positive direction. Of course, you know, I'm not a fan of everything going just bonkers. I have definitely uh I'm still spending the same amount of money that I have been. I haven't like, you know, I haven't seen anything that I just absolutely have to have. And I spend a whole lot more money than what I've seen it go for. The albums that I've gotten, I definitely have gotten lower on the lower end of what they could go for. But yeah, no, it's been really good. I think who else can who else can I think? Marza, great guy from Spain, who I enjoy talking about French issues with. Showing, you know, the new pickups between Ed and I. That's been rather enjoyable. I always enjoy that when he texts me and shares me that. Uh, Frank, great guy. I love talking to him. Who else? If I didn't name you, that's just because I don't know your name outside of your Discord name. So Garza from Portugal, huge help. The collector I'm doing deals with in Canada, you have been a fantastic help. I cannot explain to you how many cool pieces you have sold to me. So that's been amazing. And I know I'm missing other people. My brain is fried. I've been up since, 4 a.m. because of the Sporting Gold auction, which I was able to get exactly what I wanted from that auction. So that was awesome. Yeah. Please leave a comment if you liked it. Sorry it took so long. Hope this is enjoyable. I'm going to maybe try my hand at editing this video. So we'll see how it turns out. All right. Peace.